influence France's position.
All right, I want to turn to Russia now, where the Kremlin has expressed new concerns about ISIS and is taking action. It's estimated hundreds of Russian nationals are in Iraq and Syria fighting for ISIS. Senior international correspondent Matthew Chance has that story.
These are fighters from ISIS showing off a Russian-made warplane captured on the battlefields of Syria. This group clearly enjoys publicising its gains and making threats. This is a message to you, Vladimir Putin, he says. These are your jets that you sent to Bashar al-Assad. Now we'll send them back, he promises. It's just bravado, but the Kremlin, like many Western countries, is deeply concerned that Russian citizens who've joined ISIS may soon return home, well-trained and radicalised. Concerned enough for the Russian Foreign Ministry to grant us access to what it calls its Department of New Challenges and Threats, led by this man.
There are hundreds of Russian nationals travelling abroad and participating in fighting in different conflict areas.
You say hundreds. How many? Can you be more specific?
Well, I can refer to the number that was provided by the head of the Federal Security Service, Mr. Bortnikov, and he mentioned some 800 Russian nationals fighting in Iraq for ISIS.
That conservative estimate makes Russians, mainly Muslims from the North Caucasus, including Chechnya, we're told, major contributors to ISIS ranks. Even the military leader of ISIS in Syria, named Omar the Chechen, who's believed to be a Georgian national. It's the threat posed by ISIS and other rebel groups that Russia says is now a main, if not primary, reason for its support of Bashar al-Assad in Syria. Moscow has close ties with the regime and says Western backing for anti-Assad rebels created this crisis.
Some of our partners tend to differentiate the terrorists as bad and not so bad, and perhaps not so bad are those who contribute to toppling, to destabilizing political regimes that are not allied to Washington, for example. And that was the case with the ISIS and Jabhat al-Nusra and other opposition in Syria in particular, and that was a major reason, as we see it, of the emergence of the threat of such scale.
In the face of the threat, Russia says it will cooperate with international efforts to fight ISIS, but rules out supporting airstrikes in Syria without approval from its ally in Damascus. What should be a common battle with the Islamic State may once again divide Russia and the West. Matthew Chance, CNN Moscow.